Hey, good morning. It's Jesse, and I bring a word to you from Jude. Um, Jude chapter 1, verse 9. But even the archangel Michael, when he was disputing with the devil about the body of Moses, did not himself dare to condemn him for slander, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." I want you to consider how much power we think we have. We have all this power in the name of Jesus, right? The power to tread on scorpions and to pull down strongholds and all this stuff, right? But we need to understand that when we're dealing with the devil, um, the weapons of our warfare, they're not carnal, but they're spiritual, okay? And we have to understand that if we're going to make God our refuge and our strong tower, if we're going to abide in Him, then there is a way that we need to take on the devil. Because if we give the devil place, then we give him space. We give him room to move and room to build, and it is a very scary thing. Um, Jesus, he set a standard. He said, love one another. He said, love your enemies, bless them that curse you. All these things that Jesus was saying, that people say, that it's impossible, that it's irrational. But truly, to stand in love is the only way that you're ever going to be able to defeat the devil. Because when you give him no place, if you engage him in battle, what you're doing is giving him grounds to talk to you. You're giving him your authority to engage you. When you go and you defend someone else, even still, when the battle isn't yours, but you see the wrongs that are being done, you're still giving the devil space. Because let me tell you that someone has been fighting my battle with the devil for a few years now, and all they've done is spent money. And there's been no victory in it, right? And surely victory will come. But I mean, as long as they're fighting, uh, how do I explain this? I appreciate your efforts. I appreciate what you've done. But you've just extended things, you know? Because every time you catch the devil, he changes things. And he's got no shortage of false witnesses. He's got no shortage of people willing to come up and serve him. Because the devil, he sits in a high place. And everybody bows to that high place. They respect the position of authority, you know. And he's a master of appearances. The truth doesn't matter to him. And there is no limit to how low he will go. So the more you catch him, the lower he goes. The more he gathers people unto them. You know, you're fighting him, and meanwhile he's finding new ways to hit me because I'm standing and I'm taking it and I'm waiting. I'm looking up and waiting for my salvation to draw near, and things just keep getting like worse and worse and worse. And every time we think that I'm going to get out of this hole, I'm going to get out of this pit, then they turn around, they let me out of the pit for about 5 seconds, and then they use it against me. They strip away all my resources while I'm out of the pit. They manipulate my bank account, they freeze my assets, you know. They garner false witnesses in my new place where I go. And it's like, it feels like it would have been better if I had just stayed, and then I would have had provision for a longer time instead of spending my money in my travels. Um, You can't fight the devil. You can't run from him. You just got to stand there and take it until the Lord steps in and rebukes him. Luke 21, it tells you that, as these things are coming against you, you give your testimony before Christ. And you look up because your redemption is drawing near. You were not supposed to look at the things around us. We don't walk by what we see, but we walk by faith. We look unto God, knowing that He's our strong tower, and knowing that He is the one who's going to come and rebuke the devil and take the devil out. You can't do it, no matter how good your intentions are. Because not only are you wasting your resources in fighting him, but he gets you to come into agreement with him in believing the reasons for why the victory didn't come yet, and believing that it's my fault that the victory didn't come. It's my fault that I had to return to this place. It's my fault that everything is my fault, no matter how we look at it. I'm complacent. I'm not operating my faith. I'm not being obedient. Everything. He gets you to believe these things, and once he gets you to come into agreement with him, he's got you in a position where you're, my friend, are used as a weapon against me. I have felt every time that the enemy has got me, and I've wondered, where did this come from? How did I feel this affliction? You know how Jesus said he felt the virtue go out of him? I felt the virtue go out of me, and I didn't understand until I got to Sunday service, and I listened, and I heard, and I said, oh, that's where it came from. That's where it came from. It's not about me. It's about giving him place and space. And if we just let it go, that's why I said, take your hands off my battle, because it doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to you. The battle belongs to God. And you say that I'm not letting God use me. You're wrong. You're wrong. I am completely surrendered unto the Father, and I'm waiting for him. And the only thing that's holding him back is your involvement in my battle. Because you think that you can beat back the devil, but you can't, because you're just a man. No matter how much spiritual power you have under your buckle, you are still just a man. You don't even have the same power of the mightiest of angels. And that mightiest of angels said, the Lord rebuke you. There's a way to fight the battle against the devil, and this ain't it. It's not gonna end well. God has given me a promise for restoration. And if I'm gonna make war, I'm gonna make war with that promise. I'm gonna make war with the promise that he said, if I suffer for him, I will overcome. He's the one that's going to bring the victory, because I'm not suffering for a show. I'm not suffering for a victory. I'm suffering for God so that he can bring his revelation to the people, It's why Luke 21 says you testify before Christ and look up, Look up, because your redemption draws near. My suffering brings on his revelation, not just for me, but for you. You get to see who he is and who I am to him and what he's done through me. And I promise you, every seed that the devil has sown in my life, every person who's come against me, they're going to fall, not by my hands, but they're going to stumble into the very pits that they tried to dig for me. And that will be the end of them, You just got to let them go. You gotta let the battle go, because the battle is not yours, it belongs to God. Sometimes the enemy uses your involvement in my battle to hit me. And sometimes the enemy uses your involvement in my battle to hit you. Because while he's trying to get you to come into agreement with him on why I haven't been victorious yet, he's also coming to me to make me see that he plants little seeds, He says, you're a false prophet. Well, I think that you have a prophetic voice. I know that you've heard me in my secret place. I know that you've spoken words that I've heard myself, and it's an echo out in the world. So I wouldn't say that you're a false prophet. I wouldn't even call you a prophet. You just are a man that hears from God, and if that means you're a prophet, whatever. I'm not big on titles. I don't care about titles. So, false prophet, real prophet, I don't really care about that. And yet the devil tried to use that to get to me. Because if he can get me to come into agreement with him on what you are, then we can put you into a box. But I don't give the devil space like that. I don't give him space like that because I don't care what you are. Jesus said, love one another. So it doesn't matter if you're a false prophet, if you're a real prophet, if you had not a penny to your name, or if you were the richest man on earth. My sentiment is, doesn't matter. I love you anyways. Because it's what I'm commanded to do. Because it's not about who you are, but it's about who God is. And when we realize that, this is where we deliver the strongest blows to the enemy. Where we say, yeah, okay, you could say whatever you want to say, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to love them anyways. I'm not going to condemn them. I'm going to love them with my whole heart. And I'm going to pray for them and wish well for them and hope good things for them, and I'm going to defend them. Not in the way of, she wouldn't do that. No, she's not that kind of person. But I'm going to defend them in the position of, I don't care what you say about them. I'm going to love them anyways. Not because of who they are, but because of who God is and what he commanded me to do. This is where you deliver the devil his strongest blows. This is how you allow the Lord to rebuke him, as you stand in love. You don't fight the devil, he just drains you of your resources. Plus, once you give him space in your head, he puts those seeds in there, and those seeds become a tree, and the tree becomes a fruit, and everything just corrupt. And I don't want to see that for you. So instead of contending with the devil, let us contend for our faith, knowing that vengeance belongs to God. And God repays. I'm not looking for my enemy to repay what they stole. I'm looking to my God to restore to me everything that the locusts and the cankerworm made. I'm looking for my God to bring redemption. Because it's through him, the blessings of the Lord maketh rich and add no sorrow. That stuff that comes from the enemy, it's a fleeting blessing, let me tell you, and there is a price to be paid for it. But the blessings of the Lord, on the other hand. So I don't want my redemption to come through my enemies. Stop fighting them. Who cares? It doesn't matter what they say. What matters is what God says, What God says about me and what God says about you. It doesn't matter what my enemy says. I don't believe his report anyways. I'm going to keep the commandments of God. Because in keeping his commandments, I am protected from the wiles of the enemy. He can't bait me because I don't care about the report of the enemy. I don't care about his evil report. I don't care what you've done because I forgive you for it, It doesn't matter to me, So let us love one another and let's let the Lord rebuke the devil. Okay? Love you, Risha. Have a good day.